came in, who leads our bus ministry. He laid out what he wanted. And Miss Valerie came in. Miss Nicole came in. Here's how we want the children's and the nursery wing. And they laid that out. And so we laid all this out. And he took all the information and brought us back our first design. And we said, no, we don't like that. And literally, he came back with that first design. He came back with a gigantic blank canvas with little cutouts. And we moved them around like we were children playing a game. Well, we want this here and that here. And that was probably my favorite meeting because I got to play in that meeting and move everything around. And we moved stuff around. And then he came back with where we are now. Now, here's where we are. Last Tuesday, Brother Ryan, last Wednesday, Brother Ryan went and met with the city of Pinellas Park and laid basically what you see on your brochure. This is a very rough, this is a very simple drawing. This is just boxes basically. And we thought we were just meeting with zoning, just going to talk about zoning and what's going to happen. When Ryan got to that meeting, it was not zoning. It was every major part of the city. The fire department was there, electrical, water. Everybody was in that meeting, a large meeting. And they went through every part of the plan, asked our architect representative, Tommy, and Brother Ryan was in that meeting. And other than a few changes, they stamped off and said, this is a good plan. Now, what you see is not what we're going to get because we're still developing and working, but it is the basic concept. So let's throw that up there, Brother David, if we can, and we'll walk through it together. That's the site plan. The biggest change you'll see is there's no house. Right now, there's a house on that end of the property, which would be the north end of the property. But that house goes away, and that becomes part of our parking and entranceway. Where we're looking at the building would be if we're up in the sky looking at the building from over here on 65th Street. So 65th Street is this road right here. 78th is this road. 66th is this road. 80th is out there. So we're looking down, and you're looking at the auditorium. That's 600 and some odd seats, plus balcony, plus platform. On the right, you have a giant room that we're going to call the Barnard Hall, and that's our multi-purpose room. And then on the left is offices. That's where the office staff will meet. There's a prayer room right to the left of the platform there. And then there we go a little bit clearer. There's a prayer room right to the left. There's a baptistry ready room. The choir will be behind, and no baptistry. The baptistry will not be here. The baptistry will be offset to the right. That actually helps us when we get ready for baptism. We want to have it a little bit offset. It'll also help us in using the platform for different programs and things. So choir loft is behind, no baptistry. Baptistry is offset to my right, your left. And then the grand lobby. You see that where the lobby curves, the big part, that's 40 feet across. It goes down to about 25 feet. But there's areas there where you'll have small groups, fellowship groups. The welcome center will be there. The coffee shop is over across the hall on the gymnasium side. There's an elevator there and a staircase there. And then that's where the kitchen is to the right there because the kitchen will serve Barnard Hall, the lobby, the gymnasium, and it can serve outdoors if we're doing an outdoor activity. So that's that. The gymnasium, you see, it's pretty basic. It's the gym. One set of locker rooms and restrooms. The other set of locker rooms and restrooms are at the far left of the screen as you first walk in the main entrance. And then everything in blue is current building, which will be turned into usable teaching space, whether it's the classrooms for school or it's Sunday school. And then the two entrances on either side, the north or the south entrance, will get you into the grand lobby. Exterior, still very rough. This is not, we've not taught colors, we've not taught details, but the exterior, if you kind of throw that one up there, fellas. There we go. So that would be looking from 65th Street, the corner over here. If you look at that, and that's the front entrance. That'd be the office wing to your left. That's the main front. That's if you're looking at 78th, looking in there. There's an the overhang comes out, so you can drop off and be undercover there. And then the last one is from the rear side of it, and that gives you the gymnasium to the right and the barn hall. We're hoping that we get as much glass as we can for natural lighting. We still have some details to work out there, and we still have a lot of details on finish and making it look as eye-appealing. The goal is to make it as functional as possible so that we keep the money down. We're trying to stay within our budget of $4.5 million, but we want to do all that and make it eye-appealing but functional. And so that's the basic outline of what we're building. $4.5 million, that completely remodels everything you see here. We'll go to the wall all the way out. We'll gut everything down. There'll be nothing you left in this room at all, nothing left in the nursery area, nothing left in Barnard Hall, nothing left in the school that you recognize. It will all be down and everything original, because you want everything brought up to current standards with electricity, with internet, all those things. So we'll go down basically to the concrete wall and then start all over. The only thing we keep is shell. The difference is about $125, $120 a square foot for new construction, $80 to $85 a square foot for remodeling. So that saves us a good bit of money to keep us in that $4.5 million. Now, phase 2 of this project, which is nowhere even listed, is if the Lord leads us to down the road, we could still build a 2-story education building as the Lord leads and as the need approaches. All right? So now at this time, I'll open it up. Any questions? And then listen, there's no bad question. Just don't be ridiculous if you can help it out there. Vicki and Brother Ryan, Brother Pratt, you listen if there's something I don't understand. Miss Vicki? So we're going to stay in this building. So this is the biggest issue we have is once they tear up and begin to build, how do we function? We'll be able to function in here through the vast majority of it, and then I don't know. Literally, we're trying to figure that out. But the goal is to build the new first so that hopefully we could jump over there while they come back in over here. I don't know how it's going to work, but as we get that far in, so we're talking if we can turn dirt into, if we get approval by February and start turning dirt, we're looking at February of 2020, March move in. So we're talking the end of 19 could be challenging for us just trying to figure out. It may be that for a season of time we go to 1 or 2 services a week. It may be the school has to move. It may be everything's on the table, but we don't really have an answer. Anything better than that, Ryan?
No.
That's why he's on my team, absolutely. Somebody else. Terry. Yes, absolutely. We've gone to a lot of churches. Pratt and Ryan and I actually flew to Georgia to go through a building that we really liked. We've gone through every building around here. Countryside, we've got a lot of ideas from Countryside. They have a great children's facility. Southside just built a new building a couple of years ago. We went over there. I went, while I was preaching in Atlanta, toured a building that is very similar in size and layout in the auditorium to ours, and got a lot of things I loved about the building. Didn't. So, yes, we've toured a bazillion churches, and we've just been online, and our architect has showed us too much information. Brad?
That our architect has done in excess of 100 churches in the area, and they do have a good reputation behind them and have exposure to this type of facilities. So we're very confident that what they're bringing forth is a good design.
Yeah, I've been in fact, I've had coffee with Chip in that grand lobby. What we'd like to do is for a doctor to give us $1 billion, and I'll reproduce what Calvary has. Yes, absolutely. I'm for that. If the doctor would like to give us a field and gymnasium and weight room, and if that guy gave us that much money, I'd lose weight. Amen. Joseph. Yeah, Brother Ryan, speak because we do want people. We will be able to do some things. Volunteers to come and help do some stuff. Obviously, we're not close to that yet, but
once we get into it, yeah, we'll have volunteer days, cleanup days, and what have you. There is a fine line of overstepping our boundaries with the contractor and safety and getting too much involved into his work to where it makes him to do double work. So, but we'll have cleanup days and stuff of that nature where we'll need people to get involved, here day to day, but nothing immediate right now.
unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, this is not like a normal Baptist project where we get forgiveness and not permission. Normally, we go do it, and then oh, by the way, we might have made some. This has to be done up front all the way, and so this is the letter of the law because it's such a project and so forth. So we will work. There's a lot of work. Just think about this. Think about moving all these chairs out of here, thinking about moving all the classrooms. So there's work days coming, but probably most of the physical work will have to abide by the contractor and that kind of stuff. So, Vicky's husband, Gary. It's a process. Hey, there's 500 people. There's a process. I got to work with this. Kentucky Gary, go ahead. We're going to leave the sign as of now, and you can have anything you want to pay for. And that's what they keep telling me. And I'm not being rude about that, but some of this stuff is just, I've been asking. Sorry. What have I been asking for from day one?
Gosh. Automatic opening doors.
I want sliding doors. When you come in, that way the usher, and he's like, no. You know how much sliding doors cost? So you can have anything you can pay for. So there's all kind of little knickknacks, like another sign, all that, but it probably code won't let us have more than one sign, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. One cool thing, and this is neat. We actually have a little leverage right now we're going to try to manipulate with. We own a piece of land on this, and I can't even explain it to you. Brother Ryan would have to maybe even point it out to you. Come and point with your finger. That'd be easier. We own this piece of land, and the city desperately wants it. And so we're going to bargain with them that if they'll do some of the gutter. Thank you, Vanna. Thank you, Vanna. That's sweet. We own that, and technically that's right of way that they want. And so they want us to. You wouldn't be amazed if you know, but they want us to do piping and sidewalk around the whole property. Well, I'm fine with that, but why don't you do it, and then we'll give you that corner. So we're going to try to work some stuff out with them just down the road. Questions? Juanita? Yeah, we did too, but financially, when you start looking at what you need versus what you can have, it's just financially. Now, Herbert will still have a beautiful facility. It just won't be as we thought initially because we've got to have this space for Sunday school and for school. Yeah, but that was our initial plan. Carolyn, I know your names. It just takes me a minute to go through the process. Carolyn.
There'll be one on either corner of the arch, and then a set of double doors right in the middle of that arch. So you'll have 3 on the main floor, and then you'll have stairs in the rear of the lobby and an elevator that'll go up to the balcony, and then stairs on either side of the auditorium, left and right, that'll also go up to the balcony.
And there'll be some side doors, like into the office suite. There'll be a side door. There'll be a side door into the barn hall suite. And that's part of what the city talked to us about in this meeting was egress from the auditorium. So we want to funnel most things into the lobby, but they do want us to make sure we have plenty of safety as far as exiting goes. She asked about I'm just kidding. Congestion, no. With that lobby is how the length of the building is how long?
The length is going to be roughly 125 to 150
That lobby is going to be 125 feet long. So but that's also coffee shop. That's also sitting areas, all those things. So, but no, congestion is not going. It's going to be the goal. Sheila's so excited because we're going to have teams of greeters and all this because it's so big. So the funneling out will be much better. There won't be the bottleneck here. Miss Kelly. Okay, so we sold 17th Avenue for 1.7. We bought this and consolidated the last house loan for 1.6. When we sold, we were able to pay that off, but the bank asked us not to pay it off because it's easier for them to transfer us from a loan into a construction loan than to start a loan new. So we paid $800. Brother Paul, give me the math. Do we pay $800? So we paid about $7 plus off the note up top. We have about $850,000 in the bank, which is actually part of that sale, but you have to pay upfront costs. You have to pay things that you either are going to go ahead and get the loan or not. We're paying an interest-only loan for the purchase of this property. So it's been a great deal for us that we've just been paying the interest only on that 1.3, 1.6. But now, as we're moving into the building, we'll eat up some of our reserves by architect fees, things that are up front, and then we'll just transfer that. So when you get done, we still have two things coming in. We have the money from the Spanish church coming in. That's a $535,000 balloon that they owe us. So there's $535,000 coming in from the Spanish church, and if that continues, of course, we'll have that in 3 years. Right now, they're paying interest only on what we sold that building to them, and they still have a balloon of $535,000 by the time that's said and done. Then we have sold the new shallow property. That closes in November. After we pay off the mortgage and all that, we'll have roughly $50,000 coming in there. So there's $600,000 coming in that we have. So what we're looking at is having to raise somewhere between $3.5 to $4 million besides what we already have and what's coming in. Is that about right? That's okay. Is that right? That's clear as mud. We're working with a bank, First Citrus. They've been very good to us. Actually, there's been some changes there. They have come to us and said, look, we've changed some personnel, but we're still very engaged with you guys. So we're gonna make sure that we're still getting the best deal. But up to this point, First Citrus has been very, very good to us and very workable with us, which has been great. Deb? Everything, yeah, everything. Jason, and you're going to meet Jason. In fact, when we get probably November, I'm going to have Jason come. Jason is actually a believer. His father-in-law is, no. His father-in-law is a news guy on TV. Bay News 9. His father-in-law is a news guy on TV. But anyway, they go to a non-denominational church up north here. So we've explained to him over and over and over, you got to build a building we're going to pay for. And so here's our number. This is not going to be oh and. So this is furnishings, this is everything. So, I mean, these chairs will go over, that kind of stuff that we can take over. No, yeah, all that's in there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Every bit of that. Part and parcel. Yes, Mr. C's custom refrigerators, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, that's part of the deal. We're not going to build. Brother Ryan in one of our team meetings said, well, let's just borrow more and build more. And I'm like, no, let's eat the elephant one bite at a time. So let's do this, and then as we go forward, we can look at other things. But this will be move-in ready, and then we'll have our note. Huh? Great faith. I have faith. He has great faith. Terry again? Oh, that's great, yeah. So here's a really neat blessing. Everybody knows that we have a contract with the insurance company that we can park across the street. The city of Pinellas Park has allowed that to continue in the new building. So it's 100 and how many parking spots were there? 125 spots that they're counting as our spots, which is huge. So this will be paved parking for visitors and seniors. We want our visitors and seniors to be very close. And then what we're going to do is we're only going to pave these first two, it's 3 rows, but these first 2 lanes, we're going to leave all of this grass so that we can still have outdoor activities. The kids can still have a play field. We can do like we did with hot summer nights and set all that up. But they're going to let us consider that parking, although they're not going to make us pave it, which is a huge win for us. So we're going to re-landscape everything. Right now, bless their hearts, when the people built this, they drained this property to the fence. So that's why when you go out at night after a bad rain, you see about 2 feet of water standing. So we're going to redo this, drain it all to the ditches, and that'll give us parking. Even if it rains, it'll be grass that you can drive and park on. But during the week, that'll give us field opportunity for the school. And then if we have an event, we'll just block that off and use the other parking and this parking. So the green is actually going to stay as much grass as we possibly can keep. Hayden, you just waving at me? Had an itch. Stacy? Right? You're sitting in classrooms, and then above this is going to be, for the first time in our life, an attic with stairs and conditioned air so that it doesn't get, not air conditioned, but conditioned. So that's the goal of that, quietly. Yes. So we're going to have, this will be storage. And where's that room at? There's a room here. I'm not as tall as Ryan, but show them where that room is. The storage room in the gym. Oh, you can't reach it either. Well, he ain't no taller than I am. Here, watch this. Look right here. No. Here, we'll use Hayden's guitar. So this, all of this right here, all of that right there is another, but that's more tables and chairs. He stopped loving her. Anyway. There is not as much, to be honest. We wanted buku storage. Here's what they've told us. If you need more storage, build outbuildings later. And so like what we've got right now, we built 2 small outbuildings where we've got chairs and stuff that are that can handle the weather. But this will become storage eventually. We thought maybe to make this classrooms 2-story. They have vetoed that. They said that's probably not going to be the best way, but we're going to build it truss-wise so that we can floor it and store it. Guffey, Nick. Yeah, playground. We have one, just not on that. They know that's got to be part of it. It'll be off the gym backside. Probably, we're going to go into the dead area with that, or do they know?
The little blue and yellow area meet right there where it kind of sets down.
That's the space that right now we just got all that. It's right here. So we'll probably go back there. But it's on there. It's just not written yet. Let's go Keith Lilly. We're going to go first, now that we are actually talking to the city, so we're just trying to go step by step. Next thing we're going to do is have the neighbors over for a meal, just the immediate neighbors, cook them a nice meal. We've already taken them at Christmas and Thanksgiving. We took them smoked turkeys, and just so we've tried to reach out, not just to get them to come to church, be nice. We're going to come and show them this because they're the only ones that will be hindrance. And we only have about 5 neighbors that will be affected. So yes, we are going to reach out to them before the zoning committee. Tackle Shack, the Lord is going to give us that building at some point, and they're going to make that parking, but I don't think they're going to have any problem with it. Elizabeth Byer. Well, like last year, we didn't do a dinner theater, but the auditorium will be as all of this is platform. This is choir loft here and platform. You sit on your paper in front of you, so it'll be very conducive to a play. Just depending if you want to have the dinner theater or not, you can have a meal, and that's part of working it out. Allie. Okay, I didn't hear the first part of it. We did that at our old building, obviously, during the last hurricane. The gym will be great for that. So it's set up. Don't know what kind of power system we'll put in. If we'll put in a generator plant, I doubt we'll put in a generator plant. I don't know.
Come with a cost. We talked with the city about it on Wednesday, and there's some certain criteria that we have to meet if we are that. So we need to weigh the cost of that to see if we can do that within our budget.
But that's what most of them do. They turn their gym into just a big sleeping mat. Alan? Yeah, it'll be just like this as far as chairs. We're going to go with chairs. Number one, we already own 550 of them. I don't have to go buy new ones. So same setup as far as seating goes, so we can move chairs if we needed to. We wanted to have a great event in there or something. Doug? No? Yes? I don't know the answer.
I didn't hear.
Do you have to count the insurance parking lot to get the seating count you need?
A little bit. But we don't need all of it, but it's just going to help us with the grass parking area.
Where our goal is to save grass. We'd like to keep it pretty back there and usable. So it just makes it nice that we can use that. Flat. No, flat. Flat. Gary? No stage. No stage. Simply because it's connecting to the auditorium. So if we need a stage, just have them meet in there. Again, you have to have a stage when you don't have somewhere else to meet, but since you have one right across the lobby, we'll do that. Oh my, yes sir, Brother Bill. Oh, absolutely. All of this is coming up, yeah. All of this is coming up because we have had so much issue with water. One nice thing about being in this building for a year, we have found all the low spots. So definitely raising everything up. All right, Lori? No, our gym is going to have seating, yes. We'll not build a football field, no. Once, that was always like, oh, but parking. They'll be able to practice there and play there, but like an actual field, I doubt.
As soon as you call it a field, you have to put a 6-foot fence around it, and it can't be used for anything else. So
we're not, yeah. So there's a lot of words that we're learning. You know, like it's just a parking lot and go play out there if you want to. And that's a gym. It's not a multi-purpose building, because as soon as you call it a multi-purpose building, a different set of codes go in. So it's all about what you're building. We're building a gym. Mrs. Austin. You go in them and yeah, that's your. The one thing that's not on there that we are going to put is a giant family restroom. We want one family restroom that'll be conducive. You got family, children, whatever. It'd also be nice if you had someone that maybe needed a little extra help. It'd also be nice in the day and age which we live. If you're not sure where to send somebody, you send them to a single bathroom. But I'm not being funny. It's just where we are. But the restrooms. Explain the restrooms because I wasn't in that meeting. What the restrooms are.
They were fine with our layout of the restrooms. There was no issues there. They just wanted to make sure that we have enough per the amount of seating that we have in there.
So
and the occupants.
If you look on your picture, which you'll be able to see it better, the guys' restroom is the one that is in the lobby dead center by the gymnasium. The ladies' restroom is to the left, kind of when you walk in the door. The first door on your left will be the ladies' restroom. And they're large, and they'll be, conducive. Ladies will be a little nicer than the men. Men will be a giant trough. I don't know, So, all right, is that it? Anybody else? Debbie? Yes. That is part of all the reconfiguration of our building is to allow us to have a preschool / daycare, another opportunity for outreach. Yes. Dick? One of the things, yes and no, we're still way out on that, but one of the things one of the reasons we went with Winemaker Jensen to begin with was just for that reason, because he explained as simple a thing as the air conditioned system and type you choose, and he explained that this is how you save money. So yeah, we've talked about it, and we're designing with that in mind so that we can function efficiently, but we haven't got into specifics of operating costs yet on the new building. I mean, I believe it'll be
energy efficient with all the new.
Yeah, there's a new rule that just came in last year about having how much fresh air you pipe into a building. I mean, it's just mind-numbing, the bureaucracy that you have to go through. But anyway, Doug? Much more than we have now. So it's all designed for Americans with disabilities. It'll all be sectioned off, so it'll be so much more conducive. Did y'all see the other day we walked in here, was it Wednesday night, and there was like 11 walkers back across that back row? I'm thinking we need to have wheelchair races in this church. We need just Dr. Mills?
There is a whole, that was part of my Wednesday meeting. All the new stuff has a separate code from all the old stuff. They all have separate requirements. The gym will have its own sprinkler system. The auditorium will have its own. There are requirements just for the kitchen area. And then since we're remodeling the new stuff, there has its own special requirements, and everything will have to be brought up to alarm codes, so on and so forth. And they gave us some really good ideas for the auditorium to help save money and costs like that. So everything will be up to code for sprinklers and alarm systems.
All right, anybody else? Christy Milliken. Yes. Brother Willard. That's a great question, and yet the answer is yes. Everything he's building in his mind to add to, because we've talked about that. So if we go out, if you look at it, we can do two things. One, we can tear down the blue and build right there. Two, we can go out from the gym and build down right there. And he's building with everything in mind for stage 2, stage 3, because he's thought that through, and that's part of our site plan. So yes. Yep. Brother Darrell? So right now, that's the one thing that we're kind of like, The one on your left, which is the main one, that is a covered entrance, but it's not as deep. It's more of a drive-through cover. So we're going to talk to him about that. The one on the right, he doesn't have anything covered, but we're also going to talk to him about that. Even if it's something right now, that's one of the things that we're kind of, I'm not sure we like that. And we're not sure we like all of just this initial thing. So, but that's something as simple as a cantilever to go out, so we can work on that. But yeah. The main entrance is covered, which is the front. The back, you'd have to just run fast. Brother Charlie. Oh, that'll all be in this one. Yeah, that'll all be part of the, yeah. We're just coming up to speed. For the last umpteen years, we've been putting stuff in and retrofitting. This will all be security. It'll be code key, slide, pass, punch in. We're getting rid of keys, thank God. What? No. Right now, don't concern yourself with that. That's an initial. He's going to try to keep as much grass, and there's actually a sidewalk and some stuff that he's got planned in there. Right now, this is just initial, but as much as we can keep green, we're going to keep green just because of the prettiness of it. But then other than that, it'll be. Right. No, it'll be maxed out. So that's all parking that you see other than was shrubbery. Appreciate if you didn't park on the shrubs. Anybody else? Jeremiah. So that building is probably either the blue part, that'll be something there, or in what we're going to call Barnard Hall, which would be a nice, that'll be the second nicest room outside the auditorium, because we think we'll actually do some wedding, funeral type stuff in there if we needed to. So that will be very well laid out. But that's on the agenda. We just haven't pinpointed it, but there will be a conducive, designated Spanish church. So even if it's something that we go into we're still trying to figure out about a small meeting room in the blue part for school and Spanish. So it's on the list, and we know that you got to have a Spanish area. We just haven't laid it completely out yet. So, okay, look. One more question for you. So what we're thinking is right now that if you'll notice let's do it this way. So you want to do it? You do it. The answer is yes. So that's going to be part of that's actually going to be what we have right now, ripped all to pieces and changed, but that's where the school will come in and out, separate from the church. Yeah, that's part of our goal, is to segregate, separate, and all that, so we have security in place. Also in the main office, so that Nicole doesn't have people just walk in on her. There'll be a way, so that's part of that. Oh, my daughter has a question. How many of you think if the teens raise enough money, they can have their own teen room? Amen, right there, yeah. How much would an own teen room cost the teens? $100,000. Oh, well, you ain't getting a teen room. I'm sorry. You raise enough money out. Yeah, we're going to work. Honestly, we're going to try to have a teen room. So. What do you say? No, I told the kids the other day that there's a group that's going to graduate from here. Which group is that I told was going to make it? Zach's group. Zach's group will walk in this new building. Well, Zach may not walk with them, but the rest of them will. So yeah. Terry, this is your last question. You've run out of chits here. No, that's all part of that. We ain't doing nothing, man, because I'm not going to get in trouble with the city. We're going to contract our architect. We're paying you a lot of money. I want everything right. So, and we're using Wanamaker Jensen is the building firm called. So it's WJ Creation. So it's a design build firm. So they're really good to work with. Now, Hayden, are you asking a question again? Or are you still scratching? Will you put your hand down or do something? Come on. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right, Matthew. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Yeah, that's just, they're making us put a drainage pond in. So what he's thinking about now is this area. How many feet is this, Ryan?
That's about 50 feet.
It's about 50. So it's about 50 feet from the building to what this road is. It's the 65th. So he believes he can fit it here. And what he thinks he'd like to do is actually make it kind of like make it not just a pond, but make it something usable. So he's working on that. But that's where he thinks he's going to be able to put it, which is great because that spot would be a barrier to the neighbors. So when they look at it, they're just not looking at this big giant wall in front of them. All right, anybody else? David? In this new lobby, there's going to be an area. In fact, we have talked about some of the churches you go into now have an interactive screen and stuff. So we will have missions somewhere in that lobby that is forefront, like we used to have at the old building when we had the missions board. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mackenzie. On the parking lot. I don't know. They'll park probably just out where they are right now, I'd imagine. Just that's where I imagine. Brother Dory? Brett Simpson is the greatest maintenance man in the history of the world. No, that's one of the things Alan asked for and he's not going to get is a bus barn. So we're working on that. Alan on his list asked for a bus barn. But right now, someday we'd like to have a place. But right now, Brett just works on them outside. So. All right, let's get, oh my goodness. Last one. Elizabeth Byer, last one. Yes. It's going to hinder every ministry we have. It's going to hinder our school. And we are working diligently to be less painful as possible. But right now, it's going to be like right now our teenagers have been bouncing around from room to room trying to figure that out. The buses, right now for the next year, you're going to be fine. But once we get building, everything's going to be crazy. Literally, everything's going to be crazy. You visitors enjoying this? What a wonderful time. You picked the wrong night to come, didn't you, kid? Woo! Amen. Anybody else? Okay, that's it. What? Cindy? We're meeting what we're doing is bus stop meets, Master Club meets, then bus stop switches, Master Club switches. So we're using the same rooms. We're just running them around each other. So it worked out great. Last week we had 75 bus kids and 75 Master Club kids. So just swapping rooms. If there is no one else, because I promise I don't want you to leave here saying, Brazier doesn't let me ask a question. Okay, I'm just making that up. I don't really mean it, Charlie. What is it, Charlie? Yeah, show it. You want to see if you're in it? Okay. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for your goodness to us. You've been so gracious and so good to our people. We certainly want to thank you for everything that you have done and what you are doing. Lord, you've moved our congregation from our home in St. Pete after the merge, Lord, to this new property. You've given us an opportunity to do greater works. We want to reach people by preaching the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Lord, you brought us here to grow and to reach new people. And Lord, we want to thank you for that. And we want to thank you for what you have done, but now what you are doing. Lord, as we enter this new journey, I pray, God, you give us direction. Help us to walk by faith and not by sight. And Lord, we ask you to guide our steps every step of the way. Give us wisdom and strength as we make every decision in this new endeavor. And Lord, I pray that as we move forward, you would reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ, helping them not only to know Christ, but to grow in his word. Lord, help us to reach our community. Help us to affect the lives of people and spread the good news, the gospel of Lord Jesus Christ. As the prayer of Jabez, enlarge our coast and extend our reach to this area, these people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You please, Matthew chapter number 25. Matthew 25. And I want to read a familiar text, and then we'll see if you've ever been a part of anything like this or not. If you have, don't come up to me and say, I've been a part of this. Just smile and pretend like it's new, all right? After the service, our next step, by the way, starting this next week and immediately following, we move into the active stage of the Jabez Project, which is planning for our commitment service, which is November the 11th. It'll be a great banquet that night, and we'll take our first offering that night, and there'll be a commitment. So after the service, Brother Ryan's going to come and read a list of names. If your name is called, we're going to meet him right down front here for just a moment. Tonight's meeting is just a momentary meeting, but a very important meeting. And so right after the service, Brother Ryan will come and invite you to join him if he calls your name, and that's where we'll go next. And our next meeting with Wanamaker Jensen is November is it in October? It's October. So it's October, and we should have more detailed things to give at that time. We hope to. So we're looking forward to it. All right, begin reading a familiar passage, Matthew 25, and look at verse number 14. For the kingdom of heaven is, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. Unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability. Straightway took his journey. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. He that had received the 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, reckoneth with them. So he that hath received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord, or thy Lord. He also that hath received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest, therefore, to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. And of course, this means he wants to see a profit on his investment. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. Cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I want to talk to you tonight just for a moment about this thought, a good investment. A good investment. Let me give you just the outline very quickly. The outline to the text, and it's a familiar text, is seen like this. First of all, there's a varied involvement. There's a varied involvement. Chapter 25, verse 14, here the picture of the owner and the servant. And the owner calls his servants. Now, he calls 3 particular servants, but I believe they're representative of his servants. And he recognizes that each of them has responsibility. So the first thing he did, he gave his resources. He allotted to them his resources. He had money, and he wanted to see them take what he had and go do something with it and bring back interest to make more money. That's what a good businessman ought to want to do, is to make money. He doesn't want his investment to be the same or to lose. And so he allocated his resources. But I noticed in verse number 15, he didn't give everybody the same thing. He gave 1 5 and 1 2 and 1 1, because very simply there are different abilities. He recognized that everybody is going to do a little bit different. My daddy said years ago, not every cow gives 10 gallons of milk. He said some cows give 10 gallons of milk, some cows give 5 gallons of milk, some cows give 1 gallon of milk, but you milk all the cows. And so thank God for the 1 gallon. Thank God for the 5 gallon. Yeah, this 10-gallon cow is great, but everybody does something. Now, if you're not from a farm, that illustration doesn't really help you, does it? Growing up on a farm, I understand that. But he said not everybody in your life is going to be uber productive, but thank God for everybody that can do something. And the owner said, look, you're a 1-talent guy. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a 1-talent guy. Some of the best Christians you'll ever meet are 1-talent Christians. They may not do everything, but what they do for the honor and glory of God. Recognize their abilities. And number 3, notice the assumed responsibility. I looked in the text, and maybe you can find it. I couldn't find it. But he gave them talents. Made them other, look at verse number, let's see if we can find it together. Maybe I missed it. It says in verse number 15, and unto one he gave 5, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Do you see in the text that we've read, and specifically in the verse I just read, do you see anywhere where the boss said, go make money? He gave them the talents and then he left. He said, I'm gone, I'm out of here. He assumed they knew what to do. He assumed that if you're working for me, you're going to be productive for me. You know, I wonder if the Lord looks at us sometimes and just assumes that if we're saved, we ought to be productive. If we're saved, we ought to be engaged, we ought to be involved, we ought to be doing something. Sometimes people, well, I'm just waiting on the Lord. Why are you waiting on the Lord? We've already got our marching orders. Just assume that they understood they had a responsibility to be productive. So the varied involvement, different strokes, different folks, different gifts, different abilities, 1, 2, and 5, but all can do something. Number 2, the valuable investment. I just won't take time to read all the text again as we just read it, but the first 2 came, and I think they were glad when the boss came. When the boss showed up, and one of my favorite, this says, I wanted to find a place to put in the sermon because it's one of those things that I think is important, but I just don't think tonight it's important as much. But verse 19, after a long time, I think that's a key phrase in this. After a long time, week after week, month after month, year after year, things stay the same. And it's not that the boss gives this and then comes right back and inspects it. The boss is gone for a long time. It's like this. Sometimes we get weary in well-doing and doing well. And it's the same old routine, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, faithful, soul-winning, tithing, serving. And we think, man, this is a boring routine. By the way, you know the Lord's coming back again? We just read that in 2 Peter last week. The Lord is not slack concerning his promises, as some men count slackness. He's promised to come again, and just because he hasn't come doesn't mean he's not coming. I think sometimes we think, well, it's been a long time since I've been on this journey. I'll just take it easy. Listen, the moment you take it easy is probably the moment he's coming for a reckoning. Now, that's not part of the sermon. That was free tonight. But what is the sermon is this. The first 2, they doubled the investment. Oh, man, that first guy, hey, boss, while you were gone, I took your 5 and got another 5. And that is a great return on investment. The second guy said, my Lord, you only gave me 2, but I got another 2. That is a great return on his investment. And the boss looked at him and said, well done, man, good servant, faithful servant. Let's have some joy time together. Let's rejoice that you've been so faithful. Third guy. Never want to be the third guy. You ever been called in the boss's office and you know it's coming? And you don't sleep, you don't eat. You just, oh, this ain't going to be good. All right, third man, come on. Well, Lord, you know, I know that you're a hard man. I think he's talking to my daddy. I know you're a tough guy. You make money even when you don't, you make money when you don't mean to make money. And I was afraid. And so I took your talent, the one you gave me. You only gave me 1. I took that 1. I didn't want to lose it. And I went and dug a hole and hid it. The first 2 guys, they doubled the investment. The third guy dug a hole and hid the investment. Basically, he was shackled by fear. Basically, he was shackled by doubt. Basically, he was shackled by his own insecurities. Notice the third thought, and then I'll come to the point of the message. The visual inspection. Verse number 19, we covered a moment ago. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and what's the next word? Reckoneth. Reckoneth. That's an old, I love, sometimes the Old English is just better. Sometimes the Old English, it doesn't mean he inspected. He came for a reckoning. Going to set things right. I love that word. Reckoning of stewardship. Do you know, and I know you do, you know that one day you're going to give an account of your stewardship? Owners have rights, stewards have responsibilities. We're stewards, not owners. I don't think Dr. Mills could have picked a better choice for our kickoff testimony than Francois. What he said was, others have invested and given me something. Now I want to invest to give others something. And he made the statement, I want to give them something better than I received. It's a reckoning of what we've been given. One reason I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were asking, why do we still name Barnard Hall Barnard Hall? Because I never want to forget the debt I owe to those who have gone before me. You look at my Facebook page, I was preaching chapel the other day, and I wanted to find a text from an old Bible because I knew there were some notes in there. And I went to this old Bible. It was my first preaching Bible. It's still a Bible I used in college. It was a Bible I used at my first church. And it's a Bible that I'm going to pass down to my children. And I went and found the text, and sure enough, there's Dr. Harold B. Seidler, 1994, August of 94, the sermon notes I was looking for. And boy, that was just sweet to me. And then I went and found a little note that a friend of ours had written years ago. And then I went to the front page of the Bible. I should have grabbed that Bible to think about it, but I didn't. But on the front page of that Bible, it had, I think there's 5 names. It's weird that I have only 5 names on that Bible, but 5 names on that Bible. I think it was Dr. Hudson was at the top. I think Brother Howells was on there. Dr. Gray, who I was called to preach under. Dr. Robertson was on there, Bobby, and Dr. Robertson was on there, Lee. Man, I just started crying like a baby in my office because of those men who were the ones preaching when I got saved. They were the ones preaching when I got called to preach. They were the ones preaching when I made great spiritual decisions. Listen, I owe those men a heritage. They've handed me a good and godly heritage, and I'm to run with it while it's my turn, and then I'm to turn around to the next generation and give them something worth having. There's a reckoning coming of my stewardship, of my pastorate, of my marriage, of my life, of my ministry. There's a recognition of success. Good job, fellas. Good job. You did well. You returned the investment. You rejoice. Job well done. But I want you to notice this. There's the rejection of the slothful. Verse 24 tells us all you need to know. He reasoned in his mind why he couldn't do something. Boss, I know you're a tough guy. I know that you reap where you don't even sow and gather where you don't straw. I've got reasons. By the way, reasons many times become excuses. Valid reasons can come in your life to become excuses. Well, here's, and listen, I'm going to make some illustrations here. Don't get upset. Don't be mad. Well, preacher, I'd like to tithe, but. Well, preacher, I'd like to give, but. Well, preacher, I'd like to serve, but. And sometimes they're good reasons, but I think sometimes those good reasons actually morph into just another excuse. And watch me, 10 years later, we're still making excuses of why we can't do what we're called to do. He had good reasons. Some of you are already thinking, I love you to death, and this is not a rebuke, this is just a sweet, kind statement. Some of you are already thinking, well, I wish I could do something in the building program, but. You've already begun to list your ideas of why you can't be involved in what is going to happen here over the next few years. The reality is this, he was afraid. He says it in verse 25, well, here's all my reason, but the truth is I was just afraid. I was just afraid. Do you know that I'm afraid every day of my life? You know that everybody that's ever done anything in their life is afraid? Man, we all have fear. But when fear shackles our faith, we're done. Because without faith, it's impossible to please God. And the only thing that can shackle your faith is fear. Most of the time, our fear is really like a rocking chair. We do a lot of worrying and it never comes to fruition. A rocking chair, you can rock all night. You ain't going nowhere. Worry and wonder. And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? We're worried about the lion in the street when we're not even in the jungle. The rebuke for his action. I give you this. The Lord wasn't happy about this. The boss was pretty ticked. He reminded him in verse 26, you had a job to do. You're a wicked servant. You're a slothful servant. I would never want my boss to tell me I wasn't doing a good job. But if he started calling me wicked and slothful, you knew I was a good man that reaped where I sowed not and gathered where I did not straw. Thou oughtest, what he's saying right here is, what you should have done was take your one talent, gone to the exchangers, invested it, and brought me back something as a return, because that was your responsibility. He was reminded of his failure in his responsibility. And then he had, let me say it correctly, he had his talent taken away, given to the man with 10. Well, that's not fair. If you're an investor, this guy's doubling your investment, and this guy's not doing anything with your investment, wouldn't you want your talent to go with the guy that's doing the most good? It makes sense to me. And then I don't fully understand all the connotation of chapter 30 or verse 30, but I'm going to tell you this. It ain't good when you're kicked out into, what is it, weeping, gnashing of teeth, outer darkness. I don't think this at all teaches a loss of salvation, but I do think this teaches a loss of reward, a loss of fellowship, a loss of joy. Had a job to do. He failed to do it. Now, I've given you our plan. Tried to lay it out, tried to answer questions. And I'm asking you to invest in the vision of the Jabez Project. I'm asking you to join in with others. But I got to thinking about it, and it's not right, or maybe let me say it differently. I want to help you lock in to the Jabez Project. And I want you to see that everybody, from the littlest girl in the front to the oldest man in the back, can do something. Preacher, I can't do a lot. I wish I could write a check for $4.5 million. You and me both, brother. And if anybody of you want to do that, we'll call the project completed and be done right now. Wait a moment. Well, preacher, I can write a check for $100,000 and buy that teen wing. Praise God for you. But amen. But some of you say, preacher, I can't do much. You know that I don't need everybody to do big things. I just need everybody to do some things. So here's what my challenge is. How many times you come to church, we take an offering? Every time, right? You are not in a Baptist church if we don't take an offering. Well, we're going to take an offering, don't worry. But tonight, I want to invest in you. I want our church to invest in you. What I'm going to do, if you're willing, and you don't have to be willing, you don't have to come. But in just a moment, we're going to bring the service kind of to a semi-close. I'm going to come stand over here, and I'm going to hand every person that's willing a $10 bill. Now, it's not 5 talents, 2 talents, or 1 talent. The math on that's just too hard. And I didn't want to have to look at you and say, well, you're about a 1.5, So it's a $10 bill. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask you from today to November 11th, that's our first offering, to take that $10 bill and invest it in the Jabez Project. Now, some of you are thinking, what do you mean? Let me give you the examples that I talked to my kids about today so that you kind of get an idea. I said, Madeline, what could you do for the giving program, for the building program, for the Jabez Project with $10? She said, Daddy, I can go buy pillow material, and she likes to make these little decorative pillows. She said, I could go buy enough material, make a couple of pillows, and sell them and bring the money to the offering. I said, Grant, what can you do? And he said, I could go buy a bunch of my shoe shine equipment, and I could get new polishes and new that, set my stand back up, and shine shoes again, and what I make, I could bring to the Jabez Project. My wife said, you know what, I bought that little table. It's a little yard sale table. It's just a little small table. She said, I paid $10 for it. She said, I can chalk paint it and get it all distressed up and nice. She said, I can sell that and bring that to the Jabez offering on November 11th. Now, you can do other two things. You could just keep it and bring $10. At least you're giving something on November 11th. Or you could steal it and have God deal with you. And that's completely up to you. Write a letter, buy $10 worth of stamps. I don't know what a stamp costs. How much does a stamp cost now? About 50 cents? Half a dollar? Yeah. So you can buy enough stamps to write 10, 20 letters. Say, my church is in a fundraising program to build a new building. Would you help us? I told Grant, this is my favorite one. You could go buy 10 candy bars for $1, come to school, and sell them for $2 when the kids are really, really hungry. Huh? I'm going to cut the vending machine off. Unplug it. Brother Hayengay, when I told him the project, he said, I can go buy a new $10 brush. This is what he seals parking lots with. He said, I can go buy a new brush, and I can do parking lot sealing and give part of the proceeds of what I make on that to the building program. Most of the time, church is saying, give me, give me, give me. Tonight, I'm going to give to you so that you can take an investment, go make an interest, and we can all come back November 11th. And I'd love to hear what your creative idea was. I think if we got into this, we could do some neat things. If nothing else, we're going to raise $2,500 because you're going to bring you $10 back. But could you figure out a way to do something with a $10 investment? Say, preacher, I only made $1. That's more than 10. Preacher, only made 15. Well, that's half again. Here's 20. Maybe your idea goes over so well, you make $20, you reinvest that 20 and make 40. Maybe that 40 makes 80, that 80 makes 160, and 160 makes 320. That 320 makes 640. I'll stop there. I believe in this project. I believe in this church. I believe in what we're doing. I want every person to not have any excuse of why you can't look in March of 2020 and say, I did something to make this vision a reality. A little child, a senior saint, a grown man, a grown woman. Now, if you don't want to take part in this, that's fine. No pressure, no pressure. But you've never been to a Baptist church where you walk out with money given from the pulpit. Because I want you to go out there and figure out, how can I do something to be a part of this great project? I don't want you to live on spiritual welfare where you receive the benefit of the work of others. I want you to have a part in this. Ownership is going to be key in this building program. If everybody does something, we'll be able to accomplish something great. Here's how we're going to do it. And we have to do it this way because I don't trust our deacons with any money. Just kidding. I'm going to have, I am going to have Brad and Ryan and Brother Paul, why don't you come? And Brother Allen, why don't you come? I trust you. John, you go to the piano. Brad, Ryan, you stand at that aisle. Brad, you stand at that aisle. And Alan, you stand at this aisle. And Paul, you stand at that aisle. And we're going to stand to our feet. John's going to give us some investment money, music. I have no idea what that is. But if you're willing to take a part, split that. You just come up, and we're not going to take your name down. So if you steal it, it's on you and God. But I want you to come, and I want you to take what I'm investing in. This is our church money. This ain't my money. It's our church money. Our church is investing in you to invest back in our church. Let's stand to our feet. This is the invitation. If you need to come and pray about what the Lord would have you to give. But this is also where you just come down the front. You take an investment. Then you start figuring out how you're going to use that investment. Come on, join this left-hand crowd. Right-hand crowd, join the left-hand crowd. Young people, you get mom and dad's permission, but you can be as little can be and take part of that. Go to the right out of this way. Go to the right out of this way. If you're a guest and don't feel like being a part of our church, go to Culver's. You'll be fine. Bobby and Kay, just write a big check. Don't worry about it. How many of you are already thinking about an idea? Lori, what's your idea? Hair day. Lori said she can do a hair day where she cuts hair and the proceeds go to the building fund. Somebody else got a good idea? Brother Dory? Make leather crafts. Sell them. Make a leather craft. Somebody else got a good idea? Haircuts. Somebody else got a good idea? Miss Susanna? Susanna is famous at work for taking all these desserts and stuff, and she's already got them addicted, so now she's going to start charging them for them. She's using the drug dealer's philosophy, all right? Give them the free stuff first. John Allen and Stephanie said they're going to go buy lottery tickets. Gambling is a sin before God. But if you win, you better give, all right? Anybody else got a good idea? Cindy? No more? Give them scrub. Sell the scrub. Somebody else had their hand up? Have a rummage sale. Buy stickers, buy material, have a grant. Fill up my lawnmower. Go cut grass. $10 worth of gas. Alan? Christmas presents, sell them. All right, we got good ideas flowing. Anybody else got a good one? Off the wall one? Oh, this will be good. Cassie? Makes me nervous whenever Cassie speaks. Play softly, you make her nervous. Host a dinner. It'll cost you more than $10, but I know it'll be awesome. Amen. $20. Yes. Car detail, very good. All right, so you got the idea. November the 11th is our giving banquet. Everybody ought to have something to come, even if it's just the investment given. Gary? Hair plugs at the door, absolutely. Hair plugs or ear plugs? Oh, I thought, looking at your bald head, I thought you said hair plugs. All right, good. Dr. Mills, come receive the offering. Thank you.
All right, ushers, if you will come, and we'll pray over our offering. Our Father, we do thank you that you trust us, because that's what this parable is all about. You have entrusted us to be stewards of all that you've provided. And Father, we return to you a portion that you have entrusted to us. And that's our offering. That's how we do our tithes. And so we ask that your blessing would be upon those today, that by stewardship they give from the heart and in obedience. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, on the back of your $10 bill, there is inscribed the words, "In God we trust." It goes right along with our memory verse for this week, Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We just trust by faith that God can do something with a $10 bill. And we'll watch and pray about and let God do something special there. Our memory verse for next week comes from John chapter 8. It's a very important verse for us because it reminds us of a couple of things. One, that we are called to be disciples. Verse 8, or chapter 8 and verse 31 and 32 says, "Then said Jesus to those Jews that believed on him, 'If you continue in my word, then are you my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth. And the truth shall" what? Make you free. That's what it means to be a disciple, to have the freedom that God has given to us. Our Bible memory cards are at the door. You can pick one up on the way out, and there are also some at the welcome desk if you didn't get any from our past week. But take our memory cards and work on that. Listen, if you do this week by week, in a year's time, you will have committed to memory 52 portions of God's Word. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by God's Word.
All right, church family, some announcements. Women of Ruth, this Tuesday, September 18th at 11 a.m. here on campus. Any questions, contact Miss Irene Dory. Please bring extra food for myself and Hayden Anderson. Pastor didn't hear me. It's good. Yeah. Golf tournament, October 19th. Please sign up in the volleyball match tomorrow at Westgate. We want to beat them because we don't like them. Friday, here at home, we're playing at Park Street Baptist Church at 6:15. Followed after that, the teen activity here on campus. See Pastor David and his staff for any more questions. The cruise people. We are leaving. The bus is leaving at 8:30 sharp, and you will be left if you are not here. I just added that last part. I'm not sure that's actually the case. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, park in the gravel for me, please. Drop your bags off at the bus and then have your husband park in the gravel will be best.
All right, Master Club meeting we already did. I'm sorry. The Senior Saint Activity movie and potluck. Enjoy a movie and potluck with friends September 25th, Tuesday, a week from this Tuesday. Sign up in the Welcome Center. And our missions conference, you don't want to miss it, October 3rd and 7th. Please put that in your personal calendars. Pastor.
Let's stand together. I'm too tired to stand. No, somebody just asked me if there's an exercise room in the building. Do I look like I need an exercise room? I love you. God bless you. You're dismissed. Quickly, give me those names. Listen to me. If you're in this meeting, listen to these names. Why don't you print it a little bigger for me? All right, listen up. Terry and Susan Mills, Trenton and Ashton Long, Dale and Dolly Gunter, Daryl and Sheila Flint, Tom and Sheila Frederick, Brad and Asina Rampersad, Dick and Hunky Dory, Dale and Karen Davis, Jim and Shirley Morton, David and Lori Hall, Nick and Sarah Guffey, Drexel and Paula Betts, Blake and Cassie.